Hi, Facebook live stream listeners and viewers. Sorry we're beginning a little bit late today. Had some technical difficulties, but we are with you now on Change It Up Radio with Paula Shaw. We are really excited about today's show. We're going to be interviewing Tom Paladino, who is the creator of the Scalar Energy Healing treatment. This is a really, really amazing healing system, and it works. And today I'm going to be talking about my own results in being treated by Tom Paladino with Scalar Healing, Scalar Energy Healing. So stick around so you can hear it. And remember, you're backstage on Change It Up Radio, so you're going to be seeing all the ins and outs, though it might be a little bit calmer today, and unfortunately not as much for you to look at because it's just me. Tom will be calling in with his interview. But thanks for being here. Stick around. Okay. And we are just about good to go. Welcome to Change It Up with Paula Shaw Radio. We are delighted to have you here with us again today. We are being brought to you by Tom Paladino and his Scalar Energy Healing. And as luck would have it, you're also going to get to learn more about that today because Tom will be our guest. And remember, if you would like to experience a Scalar Energy Healing treatment for 15 days, Tom offers a totally free trial if you just go to freescalar, spelled SCALAR.net. Alrighty, so welcome to Change It Up. I'm Paula Shaw, and I am an author and a speaker and a life transitions expert. In my therapy practice, I work with men and women, guiding them through the challenges of change. You know, whether that change comes from a death, a divorce, an illness, a move, there are so many things in life that create change. And sometimes we just need help dealing with what we're experiencing with change. We could be experiencing grief. We could be experiencing fear. We could be experiencing depression, anxiety. You know, change is difficult for humans to handle. We really like things to be familiar and easy. And when we go through change, nothing's very familiar. And nothing is as easy as it was when we were dealing with the familiar. So in my practice, I work with people that are needing some help dealing with their changes. And what I also really love to do with my clients is, if they're open to it, I was traditionally trained in talk therapy, but we're living in 2018 now, and we have mind-body processes. We have neuroscience processes, and we have energy psychology processes that can really help people shift and handle upheaval in their lives much more easily and much more rapidly. So if you want to learn more about my work, the kinds of processes I do with people when they're dealing with change, please go to paulashaw.com. You'll see all kinds of things about my practice there and a way to get in touch with me. But also, if you want to call, if you have questions or you'd like to book a session, you can reach me at 626-864-0756. That's 626-864-0756. So I want to talk a little bit this morning before we bring on our guest, who is one of the people, one of the things we do on this show also is we like to spotlight changemakers. We like to spotlight people who are creating change out there in the world because they are taking our world to new and better levels. But it's not easy riding point. It's not easy being the new guy. Imagine Columbus telling everybody the world was actually round when there were maps that had been drawn for years depicting a flat world. Imagine other pioneers out there, people who said, yes, we can fly. We can go up in the air like the birds do. There have always been humans who dare to think in a new way, who dare to create something new and different. And one of those people is my guest today, Tom Paladino. And one of the reasons I feel such an affinity for Tom is because, as many of you know, I'm a founding member of the Association for Comprehensive Energy Psychology. And we've been around for over 20 years now. And way back in the beginning, when we were tapping meridian points and people were getting over phobias and fears and calming and being able to go forward in situations that would have totally overwhelmed them before, when we first started doing that, everybody thought we were a little bit wacky. In fact, people laughed and called us the woo-woo kids. So I know what it's like to be out there riding point. I know what it's like to be doing something that people think is crazy. And oftentimes they do, only because they've never experienced it before. And so we just kept doing what we were doing because it was working. We didn't know exactly why it was working, but it was working. Now, today in 2018, there are over 180 sound scientific studies about why the different kinds of tools we use in energy psychology work. And one of the things that's been found by doing an MRI in real time, while a person was having the meridian points on the side of the eye, these are the same points that they use in acupuncture, by the way. They had those points being stimulated while they focused on something that upset them. And what they saw in this Harvard study was that when these points are stimulated, it sent calming signals to the amygdala, which is that part of the brain that prepares you for fight, flight, or freeze. So finally, we're starting to see why this works, what's going on. And of course, the new field of neuroscience is giving us so many answers about so many things. I love the neuroscience processes and all that they can do for people, and in ways that might seem a little crazy too. Mark Waldman was my guest on a past show, and Mark told us that you can write something down that you're anxious about and simply read it and yawn, or think about it and yawn, and that can actually begin to create a calmed response to that same thing beyond that moment. So, in fact, he has a process he calls the crap board, where you write down all the crap you're worried about, and then you just look at each thing and yawn. And maybe yawn a few times. Even if you don't feel like yawning, if you get one going, pretty soon you can yawn very easily by yourself. And remember, that yawn is therapeutic. Though probably a good idea to explain to your mate, or perhaps somebody you're in a business meeting with, that yawning for you is not a way of being bored. It's a way of calming and processing through some feelings or some angst that you might have. So we're going to be talking today about scalar energy. Tom has developed a treatment with scalar energy, and many of you may not have heard of scalar energy before. Quite honestly, I thought the whole universe was made of electromagnetic energy until I met Tom Paladino. Then I started doing a little research, and I found that Nikola Tesla, who we all are familiar with that name from the car, of course, he realized that there were two kinds of energies in the universe, electromagnetic and scalar. And he was so excited about scalar energy and so excited about wanting to prove the existence of scalar energy that he pretty much abandoned his other research and devoted the rest of his life to the pursuit of scalar, or as he called it, radiant energy. He felt it was so important and so powerful that people find out about it. So Tom has taken that even farther. And what he has created now is a healing treatment using scalar energy, which he describes. We're going to ask him in a little more detail very shortly about that. But he describes the scalar energy as the intelligent energy, the instructive energy in the universe that emanates from the stars. And that's very exciting. That's really exciting. So I think the main point I want to make before we bring Tom on the show is that it's important for us to stay open. We are living in a time when there's so much technology that's so amazing, and there's such unlimited possibility of where we can go, what we can do, what we can become, if we just stay open to it. So I'm challenging all of you that rather than being the naysayers, rather than being people who say, oh, that's not possible, or oh, that's ridiculous, be the ones that say, let me be open to that. Let me think about that. Let me try it and see what happens. Because one of the reasons I wanted to create this show is because change is critical to us growing and staying engaged in life. And if we don't get comfortable with it, then we'll be avoiding it, and we're going to miss out on some of the richness that we could have in life. So I really want to encourage everybody to step up, step out of your comfort zone, be open to the growth and the new possibilities that can come when we accept change. And I am going to be talking with Tom Paladino in the next segment about some pretty wild change that he is bringing to the planet. Change that can heal people you know, that can heal you, that actually has healed me. And I will be talking about that with Tom Paladino in just a few moments. So we will be right back with Tom. Stay with us. Okay, live stream folks, I'm about to get my headset on, and we will get hooked up with Tom Paladino. Hey, Todd, do I have Tom? Not yet. Todd? I'm talking to Todd, my sound engineer.
Tom is on the phone.
Okay, Tom, good morning. Tom? I'm not hearing him, Todd.
Hey, hold on one second.
Okay. We're getting connected with Tom Paladino, and in just a moment, we'll be doing segment 2. Stay with us. So live stream viewers and listeners, you will be able to hear Tom because we have you connected so that you'll be able to hear him. So in just a moment, you will be able to hear our conversation and, of course, his amazing answers to my questions. I think in the biz we call these technical difficulties. Tom is calling in from Florida, though we all know that doesn't make any difference as to whether the phones work or not. But I think we were able to get him, but somehow getting him to me is not happening yet. Another part of dealing with change. Oh,
All right, Tom is on the phone.
yay. Hi, Tom.
Hi, Paula. Can you hear me loud and clear?
I definitely can. Would you like to say hello to the Facebook live stream listeners?
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. It's great to be here. Looking forward to this interview.
Me too. All right, Tom. Well, then if you're ready, I'm going to go ahead and start the clock and we will record.
Okay.
All righty. Welcome back to Change It Up with Paula Shaw Radio. We are very excited that on the phone with us right now is Tom Paladino, who I have been talking to you about in our first segment. Let me tell you just a little bit about Tom. He is a scalar energy researcher based in Florida. He's created a cutting-edge healing treatment using scalar energy, which we're going to be learning a lot more about. And as I said, scalar energy is that fundamental instructive life force energy which originates from the sun and stars. His remote treatment is fast, it's harmless, and painless. And his website has countless testimonials of people who have been healed of, and get this, HIV, Ebola, herpes, hepatitis, Lyme disease, and over 400,000 pathogens that cause disease. So, Tom, without any further ado, talk to me about scalar energy. How would you describe it, and how does it work?
Hi, Paula. Again, thank you for the interview. Scalar energy. Well, many of you have heard of the researcher Nikola Tesla. Tesla was working with scalar energy over 100 years ago. So what is scalar energy? It is sunlight. It originates from the sun and the stars. And essentially, it's the first energy of the universe. Electricity and magnetism are a derivative of scalar energy. So scalar energy is pure sunlight. And how does it work? Well, scalar energy essentially are instructions. That is, all energy is instructive. It carries an intelligence. And I have discovered that scalar energy likewise carries intelligence. That is the intelligence of the universe. And in specific to our conversation today, scalar energy is the intelligence responsible for holding together germs, microbes. Everything has a chemical bond. And it is scalar energy as the fundament of those chemical bonds that hold together viruses, bacteria, and fungi. And we'll explore that, and we will relate to our work as to how scalar energy can be used to negate those molecular bonds.
So let me ask you a quick question before we go there, Tom. How is scalar energy different from electromagnetic energy, which I always used to think was the only energy that everything was made of?
Sure. If you can fathom this, scalar energy is a double helix. It looks like a caduceus coil. It's a double helix. And all energy initiates as that double helix. If you were to go to the center of the sun, you would only find that double helix type of energy, which is scalar energy. But scalar energy in many environments then will break down into, again, its derivative of electricity and magnetism. So if you can imagine a double helix, imagine two corkscrews side by side, and then once that helical shape has been compromised, it will convert into electricity and magnetism. So just consider that two corkscrews that are intertwined then become separated. One strand, one corkscrew, if you will, becomes electricity. The other corkscrew, if you will, becomes magnetism, which is very ineffective energy. Entropy results. So with the double helix, you have perfect energy without any type of loss of signal. It's neg entropy. And once a double helix will break down into electricity and magnetism, then you have entropy. Then you have a loss of signal.
I see. And with scalar energy, you don't get that. You don't have
Correct.
that.
correct. It's perfect energy. It's perfect coherence. A scalar wave, per se, is eternal. There is no diminution of signal. It's a perfect, last forever.
Wow. And is scalar, I mean, is it just an fait accompli? Is there proof that it exists?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, throughout nature. And many scientists are now starting to realize that.
I see.
There are synonymous terms for scalar energy, zero-point energy. Some people call it quantum energy.
Okay.
If you're from a particular culture, you might call it mana or chi.
Mm-hmm.
So we now recognize that there's another dimension than that of electromagnetic energy. Scalar energy is that other energy. And it's always been my posture that scalar energy will be the technology that changes the world.
Wow. So let's explain to the listeners how this healing treatment works with what you do.
Right, sure. I have developed scalar energy instruments. And again, if you will, scalar energy is intelligence. So with these instruments, I can control the molecular bonds, the chemical bonds of matter. Now, in specifics, I have perfected these instruments to control the molecular bonds of viruses, bacteria, mold, fungi, even prions. And the point is this: everything has a signature or an intelligence to it. And once you negate that intelligence, the molecular bond, a physical form will break down into smaller, simpler physical forms. Now, I'm not annihilating matter. I'm simply rearranging matter. So in function, my scalar energy instrument will take a microbe, will take a germ, and will negate those molecular bonds that hold together a germ. And what happens is the germ falls apart into smaller, say, amino acids, into smaller elements. So I'm not annihilating matter. I'm simply rearranging matter.
Right.
And you could do that. You could do that readily with a scalar energy instrument.
So this may be an oversimplification, but am I correct in understanding that this wave that you put in, or this frequency that you send to, let's say, a particular pathogen, almost sort of disintegrates it from the inside out? Is that correct?
That's correct. That's a salient point. We're not attacking a microbe from the outside in. To the contrary, let's say a virus. Let's isolate a virus. We release the hydrogen bonds that hold together the DNA of a virus. So once we can do that, the DNA simply falls apart. By what? By negating the hydrogen bonds that hold it together.
That is unbelievable. So this is truly the medicine of the future.
Yes, indeed.
You know, years ago, a partner and I were doing some work with the concepts of Masaru Emoto, who created the Messages from Water work. And Emoto said in a talk I heard him give that one day in the future, when you're ill, you'll walk into a certain kind of a chamber and it will detect the frequency of your illness and introduce an opposite frequency, and that will flatline the frequency of the illness and basically kill it. That's kind of what you're doing, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's textbook. Thank you, Dr. Emoto. Exactly.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm so excited because when he said that, I thought, whoa, won't that be amazing? And then I meet Tom Paladino, who has actually figured out how to do that with scalar energy. And I want to mention right here, right now, which I do every week on the show anyway, Tom, but for those of you who are intrigued at this moment and you want to experience a 15-day free trial in which Tom gets, Tom, you tell him the 3 protocols you do. What are they again?
One, it's a package, if you will. The first protocol is a pathogenic cleanse in which we can negate the bonds. We can disassemble over 400,000 pathogens, 400,000 different species of microbes. That's the first treatment. The second modality, we're able to balance the brain waves with scalar energy, including the 7 chakras. We call that our chakra balancing. And then the third modality, scalar energy allows us to rearrange matter to assemble vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, amino acids. We call that our nutrient program. Why? Because scalar energy can actually form the B complex vitamins inside the human body. So this is the versatility of scalar energy. This is the consummate control over nature that we have with scalar energy.
That is beyond wonderful. And this 15-day trial is free if you just go to freescalar, spelled SCALAR.net. And
Correct.
you can just sign up there and do the treatment. I have done the treatment. My family has done the treatment. And I have to tell you, Tom, in our next segment, I'd love to talk a little bit about, first of all, the test and the evidence people are sending you that is showing that they are healed. And I'd like to share about my own experience with this, because when you were on my show before, I did tell you that one of the things I had noticed on the internet was some people said you were a scam and that all these testimonials were made up and there was no last names on any of them. So I said to you right then and there, I will do your treatment. And if I have results, I will say Paula Shaw has had this experience. And so when we come back in the next segment, I'm very excited to share with our listeners what my experience has been. And I will share it as not just Paula S., but Paula Shaw. So stick around, everybody. We will be back in just a moment with Tom Paladino and talking about the amazing results that have come from his scalar healing treatment. We'll be right back. Okay, Tom, if you're ready, we'll just go to the next segment because I'm so excited.
Let's do that. Thank you, Paula. Yeah.
All right, here we go. And welcome back to Change It Up with Paula Shaw Radio. We are having a chat today with Tom Paladino, the creator of the Scalar Energy Healing Treatment. Tom he's writing point on some really amazing stuff that's going on out there now. He has created something that has the potential of healing millions of people all over the world who suffer from diseases created by viruses that they've told us for years we can't get rid of. Tom has created a technology that's painless, that's harmless, that can be done remotely, and that he has testimonials from people who have been cured of things we have been told could not be cured, such as HIV, herpes, and many other things. So, Tom, before we talk about results, tell us, how do people test to see if there's actually been a change within their body after a scalar treatment, scalar energy treatment?
The diagnostic test that I am impressed with would be known as a polymerase chain reaction test. A polymerase chain reaction test looks for the genetic material of a germ, of a microbe. And the PCR test, the polymerase chain reaction test, is a very accurate test to the point that a polymerase chain reaction test is used in the court of law as evidence whether a biological sample is left at a crime scene, etc. Mm-hmm. So the PCR test is probably the gold standard of testing used today. And when many people are HIV positive or they have herpes or the human papillomavirus, the polymerase chain reaction test is probably the most accurate test to ascertain either the presence or absence of a virus.
Wow. So, and it's done by a legitimate lab, correct?
That's correct. Any major any major metropolitan area in the United States or Canada has a PCR lab.
Okay, so here's what I would like to share. Just before I did my treatment with Tom and Scalar Energy Healing, I was having such digestive problems that I truly was finding myself losing my interest in food and drink of any kind. It was like everything that went into my stomach made it feel badly. And I can remember at the last family gathering that we had, I don't know, maybe it was Father's Day or something, I remember thinking, wow, is this how it's going to be for the rest of my life? Like everything feels bad once I swallow it. And I mean, water was pretty much the only thing that didn't make me feel badly. And I had no idea what was wrong, but I thought, oh, I'm going to probably have to go through a bunch of major GI testing to see what's going on. And 2 days after you started treating me, Tom, my stomach returned to practically normal. Now, what could that have been?
It could have easily been a bacterium, but what's known as dysbiosis, some type of bacterial infection that would compromise your digestion, that would simply make you feel ill. Mm-hmm. It's hard to say. Mm-hmm. Per se, I don't diagnose for a specific pathogen microbe. I simply have the ability with my instrument to break down, to destroy these germs inside the body. And again, it's all done by way of that light signal. It's a painless process. So there are millions of species of bacteria, and I could only guess at which one was causing your affliction.
Yeah.
But what's pertinent is you had a quick recovery.
Amazing.
And,
a miraculously quick recovery.
Yes, thank you. And all to the testimony to the fact that scalar energy can break down the molecular bonds of the bacterium, and once that happens, you're no longer infected.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, I'm living proof that is absolutely the case, and it has continued. This is, well over, I don't know, a month, 6 weeks later, and I'm not having any of those digestive issues that I was having. But here is the even more exciting news. So for any of my listeners who did not hear Tom's first show, which I highly recommend you go back and listen to, and all our shows, by the way, are archived on the Change It Up Radio website, changeitupradio.com, and probably most of them on our Change It Up Facebook page as well, Change It Up Radio Facebook. But so I told Tom that were I to get treatment and it worked, that I would tell the world. And I also told Tom, and I told all of you on that show, that in my 20s, and I won't say how long ago that was, but it's been a little while since my 20s, I kissed the wrong guy and I got a cold sore, which we all know is herpes 1. And especially then, I happened to be a woman with pretty full lips. When I would get a cold sore, this lip would blow up to just be a nightmare that would last like 2 weeks. It was just an awful, awful thing. And so I did Tom's treatment, and detectable traces of the DNA of herpes 1. And I have other testing saying that absolutely. In fact, just before I did your treatment, Tom, I was retested by my doctor, and I definitely had the antibodies for herpes 1 because once you've had it, your body creates antibodies. But I now have in my possession the test results that say no detectable traces of the herpes virus in my system. So I am telling the world right here and now, Tom, in my own experience as Paula Shaw, not Paula S., I will be on your website. I will be telling people that this amazing treatment you are doing works. And it's being backed up by absolute scientific evidence in the lab.
Wonderful. Thank you, Paula. This is a watershed event. You are the first radio host that's taken this seriously. and I thank you. And what we are presenting to the listening audience is the easy way, the painless way to break apart to destroy the herpes virus. Now, if you can do that with the herpes virus, and we can, and Paula has proof of that, then we can likewise do that for hepatitis, for the HIV virus, for the shingles virus, for cytomegalovirus, even for the Ebola virus. So what we have discovered with this scalar energy process is the easy way, the way that we can depend upon this energy to break down the hydrogen bonds, the various chemical bonds that hold together a virus. What I am saying, I'll go on record by saying this, what Paula has presented is the beginning, the mounting evidence that we have the cure for pathogenic disease.
And pathogenic disease, now how does that differ from like cancer, Tom? Because obviously cancer is a big thing. Can we make any headway with cancer at this point?
I do not have the cure for cancer. I will say that I can easily, readily destroy viruses, bacteria, and fungi. So with that statement, if I can break apart, if I can negate the molecular bonds of a virus, then I have discovered the cure for viral disease, and that's my statement. I do not per se have the cure for cancer. That's another type of scalar energy instrument.
I see. So any plans to work on that in the future?
Pray that God gives me the wisdom. I firmly believe that scalar energy can correct mutations. And in so doing, we should be able to reverse cancer, if not cure many types of cancer. But I don't have that insight yet. So pray that God gives me that knowledge.
But it can work to dismantle parasites, right?
Yes. So what are we saying? Pathogens, in other words, germs or microbes.
Got it.
In specific, viruses, bacteria, parasites, mold, fungi, even something called prions, which are misfolded proteins. We can address those type of diseases caused by germs.
All right, and that is huge, isn't it, Tom? I mean, I am beyond excited. I really want to tell you to think, because and I know so many of our listeners can relate to this, because herpes so often is exacerbated by nerves or stress on so many big occasions of my life. And I was so fearful on my wedding day that I was going to break out with a cold sore. And now I know I'm never going to have to worry about that again. Yeah. So, Tom Paladino, I want to say that I am so grateful that you exist, that Scalar Energy Healing exists. And I want to stress one more time to our listeners, you have nothing to lose. Go to freescalar.net, spelled FREESCALAR.net, and do the free 15-day trial. You may have the same kind of miraculous results that I did. And you'll want to learn more about Tom. He's got videos and the whole method. He's got all kinds of great information there. So, Tom, I just thank you with all my heart for being part of this whole show and for what you've done in my life, for sure.
Thank you, Paula. I'm going to give the credit to God. God gave me the wisdom for this. And the point that Paula and I are trying to drive home is we now have the answer. And people do not have to suffer, and people certainly do not have to die. Scalar energy is the easy way to destroy a germ and restore health, human health, and even the health of animals. So please help us. Please help us get the word out. This is groundbreaking, and we will change the face of medical science with scalar energy.
All right. And thank you for being with me today, Tom. And I look forward to having you back again. Take care.
A pleasure.
All
Thank
right.
you, Paul.
Bye-bye. And we'll be right back. Tom?
Thank you, Paula.
Oh, I just want to thank you too. And I'll be in touch with you, but that was wonderful. And I truly am so grateful for you and all you've done in my life. And by the way, I forgot to mention, but this will be shared with our Facebook listeners.
Good.
My daughter's dog, we thought was near the end. He was having seizures and just really having problems. And I put his picture in with ours and sent it to you. And this little dog is like a puppy now. He's 14 and he is completely changing. So good things are happening on so many levels, Tom. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
You're welcome, Paula. And I'm just going to suggest this. Let's make this a narrative. Let's try and do maybe at least 3 or 4 interviews every year.
Oh,
and we'll just keep building the evidence. In other words, if you have a girlfriend who has herpes 1, okay? Mm-hmm. And again, there's no stigma to herpes 1. Have her get before and after tests.
Okay.
Or maybe what you could do is this. Maybe say, okay, San Diego, now take the challenge. Take the Paula Shaw challenge. Now hear me out. The Paula Shaw challenge is this. I was cured of herpes. I have the test results. Now I'm going to ask you to step forward and share your results with us. Okay?
Yeah.
So what's better than one Paula Shaw? 100 people in L.A., La Jolla, San Diego who've been cured of herpes or even HIV.
That's a great idea, Tom. Great idea. Okay. All right.
I'll let you work on it.
And I'll look forward to having you on the show again after you get back from your trip to the Orient, and I want to hear all about, or your trip to Asia.
Yeah, I'm going to Honolulu. I'll be gone from October 15th to November 2nd.
Okay. All right, good. Well, we'll have you back after that so you can share all about it.
God bless you. Thank you.
All right, and you too. Take care, Tom.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Okay. And welcome back to Change It Up with Paula Shaw Radio. We have just had an amazing experience talking with Tom Paladino. And Tom made a great suggestion. He said, why don't we just tell our listeners, any of you who are interested in going ahead and doing the 15-day free trial, please share your results with us. We want to be able to share with everybody. Tom will be back again in early November, and we want to keep sharing these results to get the word out there to people that they don't have to suffer any longer. So whatever it is that you might have, viral disease can create so much pain in life, as we were just discussing with herpes 1. And then there's herpes 2, which can be so difficult for so many people. Let's get healed and let's share the news with everybody so that everybody can get healed. All right. So in this segment of the show, I am going to do something that I have been looking forward to. And what we're going to do is we have some email questions that have come in, and sometimes people are posting questions on our Facebook page. So I am going to answer some email questions. So the first one is, my son's best friend was recently killed in an accident that he was witness to. We are all devastated. I have known his mother for years, but I have no idea what to say. I try to pick up the phone to call her, and I just can't make myself do it. What can I do? What do I say? And quite honestly, I'm feeling guilty that my first thought was, thank God it wasn't my son. Oh, I can relate to that. Please help me know the right thing to do. And that's from Melissa D. Oh, Melissa, boy, you bring up such a great situation here, in that it's universal. We've all been in a situation like this where somebody has experienced a tragedy or somebody has experienced something really awful. And as a friend or as a family member, we want to help. We want to be there for them, but we don't know what to say or what to do. And this is so universal. I actually wrote a book about this very thing that will be out probably in a month. called saying the right thing when you don't know what to say. Because I just got tired of year after year after year in my practice having people tell me nobody came, nobody called. And I know why they don't. It's not because they don't want to help. They don't because they're terrified that they're going to say the wrong thing and that that's going to make you feel even worse. So, Melissa, this is what you're feeling right now is truly universal. So I want to give you some basic kind of thoughts and steps that you can take to be sure that when you try to talk to this mother, and by the way, even in talking to your son, because he's obviously suffering too, but if you do these basic things, you can be almost guaranteed that the conversation will be healing and helpful. Because that's what we really want to do, right? We want to help them heal. We want them to feel better. But none of us has the perfect answers for someone else. But try these things. First of all, set the right intention before you have the conversation. Setting intention is a way of telling the energy what we really want it to do. I set an intention before I do every one of my shows. I set an intention before I make an important phone call. I set an intention before I do sessions with my clients because I would much rather tell the energy how I'd like it to turn out than I would just casting it all to the wind. So set that right intention. Secondly, when you're having the conversation, be present. So often our minds and our bodies are not in the same place. Be present. Let your mind and your body be in the same place. And excuse me, and just be there. Because you know what? When you're present, then inspiration can come. Inspired ideas, inspired words will come to you. But if you're thinking about what you have to do tonight, or what happened last night, or what you're going to cook for dinner, while this person is trying to share their heart with you, your energy won't be right. They'll sense it. They won't feel safe. And all the things you hoped would come out of that conversation won't happen. Thirdly, listen respectfully without judgment. And that includes not giving advice. Remember, the two most important things you want to happen are you want to be listening and you want the person in pain to talk. This is the most healing thing that can happen for them, that they talk, that they process their feelings, and that they're able to express what's going on with them. That's what helps them heal. You don't have to have perfect answers. You don't have to be the wisest person in the world so that this person will know what to do. Because as I said already, we don't have the perfect answers for somebody else. The answers are within them. And when they talk, when they feel that connection with us, then the answers will come to them. Then they have a real shot at having a healing conversation. So come from an attitude of acceptance, not advice, being open, not judgmental. Remember, when a person is hurting, there's no one prescribed way that they should be acting. For some people, when they go through an emotional loss, they're going to be terrified. They're going to be in all kinds of fear. For others, it's just going to be hysteria or uncontrollable tears. For someone else, it might be just going silent and depressed. There is no one way that we humans respond when our worlds get turned upside down. So there is no perfect prescription of what a person should do when they're experiencing that kind of a situation. So just be present, Melissa. just be there for your friend. Have the intention of comforting, of supporting. That's what we really need when we're hurting. Sometimes we don't even need words. We just need a hug. We just need someone to sit with us and hold us. Sometimes there are no perfect answers. And if we wait until we know what the perfect answers are before we go have that conversation, before we make that call, then we may never show up. And trust me, as a therapist that deals with loss all the time, I can tell you, a lot of you aren't showing up. And a lot of the people that come to my office are there because they felt so alone as they were going through what they were going through. And remember, reach out. Reach out to them, because usually the person in pain is not going to be reaching out to others and saying, I need a friend or I need to talk. That would be great. And if you're a person who could do it, go for it. Because we don't heal very well in isolation. We need to process. That's just kind of how we do, especially women. Sometimes men, they need more quiet time, but men need to process their feelings too. But for women, it's usually a thought that comes to them more quickly because we're used to talking to our girlfriends. We're used to talking about the things that bother us, where men are more encouraged in our society to be strong and silent, which isn't really very fair to them because they have just as much need as we do to cry those tears and express those feelings. So, Melissa, what I would say to you is, first of all, thank you for your honesty. Thank you for admitting that you don't know what to do. Know that you're in huge company, because most of us don't know what to do when people are in pain. You know, we're really good at chatting about the football game or about what happened at the office or about fashion, but we're not very good at being able to just look at someone and say, I know you're hurting. Do you feel like talking? Whether you do or you don't, I'm here for you. I'm with you. If you want to talk, I want to listen. Something as simple as that. Sometimes, you know, I'm baffled, even though this is what I do professionally, sometimes I'm baffled about what to say too. And I'll just look at somebody and say, I can't imagine how difficult this must be. And that is helpful for them, because then that opens the door so they can say, it's the hardest thing I've ever gone through. So whatever the need is, just let someone know that you're there and that you're open to listening. So I want to thank our listeners today for being here for this show. We've had some amazing conversations and insights and information today. You can hear us on KCBQ and 96.1 FM, AM 1170 and 96.1 FM here in San Diego. We're also on every major podcast platform, including iTunes and Blog Talk. And if you can't remember any of those things, just ask Alexa where to find Change It Up Radio with Paula Shaw. Thank you for being with us today. It's truly been my pleasure. It was so much fun. See you next week. Bye. Okay, Facebook Live streamers, thank you. My goodness, I feel like we've been on quite a journey together today. Do take Tom up on that free trial offer, freescalar.net. I'm telling you, miracles are possible. See you next week. Bye-bye.